This is my audience. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the Humane Society, who is making an impact on animals everywhere. Before I was even born, groups like the Humane Society have been taking action to secure fair treatment of animals. Founded in 1954, the main goal was to target animal cruelty and to pass laws across the states that protected animal rights. According to Learning to Give, the Humane Society stands for strong for causes such as illegal wildlife trade, protecting endangered species, and protecting animal rights. We are the caretakers of this world. It's our duty to provide fair treatment across the United States to animals. Fred Myers, one of the co-founders of the Humane Society, was determined to bring quality standards to animal shelters. He fervently pursued to prevent the turnover of animals for testing in laboratories. Mr. Myers also wanted slaughterhouses to be legislated as to the procedures being used, presenting the issue to the federal government, produced a bill in 1958. This bill provided legislation that required slaughterhouses to treat animals in a facility as humanely as possible. The Humane Society is a top entity to stop animal cruelties, such as dog fighting, puppy mills, and wildlife infringements. If more people become aware of the atrocities going on in the animal kingdom, these abusive acts may become a thing of the past. According to the Animal Legal Defense Fund, dog fighting became popular in the United States as a form of entertainment. Placing two dogs in a ring and turning them loose on each other to rip and tear the opponent apart, while spectators root for their choice for the win. One animal, if not both, will receive serious injuries, and often the fight may even be to the death. This type of fighting has been outlawed in most states, and due to the Humane Society pushing for strict legislation, many of those states have felony offenses in place for the offenders. The Humane Society has many worthy bills that can be pushed forward to change with federal legislations. Public support from each state is needed to promote these concerns through as law. One such legislation at work is to stop cosmetic testing on animals. Today there are experiments still being conducted on animals in labs to test cosmetics. Animals can experience being shaved and their bare skin exposed to some type of chemical, and the reaction is watched and observed to see what develops from the reaction. That's something to think about when purchasing lipsticks or perfume. Animals shouldn't have to suffer for those test results. Using animals for testing has already been abandoned in many foreign countries, and with today's technology and advancements, the United States can follow suit. Safer practices can be done that will avoid testing on animals. Another worthy cause is trafficking of primates. The Humane Society is advocating for stricter laws to prevent the easy access sale of these animals. If someone wants to buy a chimpanzee, it's as easy as going to the internet and locating a dealer. Primates are not used to being kept in homes, and they are in quite a bit of shock not to be able to act in their instinctive behavior. Primates can be aggressive. If an attack on a person occurs, this could be detrimental. If the primate has a disease, it can be passed on to a human. Not to mention the physical damage that primates are capable of can permanently scar a person for life. After all, in the wild, these primates have to fight to survive and will have instincts that may transcend being civil in a home. It's best to leave primates in a zoo or sanctuaries where professionals with skill and training can handle the care needed to help the primates live comfortably. Not a good idea to have one as a pet at home. The next cause the Humane Society is actively advocating legislation for is to stop horses from being slaughtered. Horse meat is acceptable in many foreign countries for human consumption. a far cry from what is tolerated here in the United States. However, horse meat has been found being sold in the U.S. regardless. It has been sold to consumers who are unaware of the meat source. This is very deceptive to the American consumer. Correct labeling practices need to be enforced, and testing to ensure the meat consumption of any particular animal is safe to prevent diseases or adverse effects from medications these animals have been treated with do not cross over to humans. Horses undergo drug treatments all the time for health purposes, and those drugs are not tested to see how it affects people. It's scary to think that the Federal Food and Drug Administration or the United States Department of Agriculture would allow consumers to eat horse meat without letting people know what they are eating and whether or not it is safe. Measures need to be in place to encourage the government to intercede and legislate this practice, and this will ensure people will know what is being sold to them. Organizations like the Humane Society need the public support to operate. They get a small amount of funding from the federal government, and they operate primarily from contributions and membership fees. This money pays for investigators to go out and expose meatpacking plants who use unethical practices to slaughter animals. There may be unsanitary conditions that can lead to the tainting of the meat, and these investigators examine how these animals are being treated prior to being slaughtered. This organization reaches out to pet owners as well to support responsibility in maintaining the health of privately owned pets. They also encourage pet adoption and foster care for abandoned animals, and helps to establish animal control programs. Legislation is done state to state, and every state has some form of animal cruelty laws documented, and currently animal abuse is becoming a felony offense in pretty much all of the states. As individuals in this country, we have the ability to assist organizations such as the Humane Society by even donating time to serve their causes. Contact your state representative is another way to support the Humane Society. Help push their proposed bills. They need the public to come forward and stand together on these issues. Please start today by researching how you can support the Humane Society and your local animal shelters. Thank you for your time.